You done fell right down that rabbit hole, so reality is questionable. Try, but you just can't let it go. These two right here put on the show. It's paranormal overload with southern hospitality. Haunted murder, mayhem, tip while discussing immortality. Locations with a dark past, history that comes to life. Hillbillies with a knack for everything that goes bump at night. Overthinking if you by yourself, these two will have you turning on the lights. Mixing in a little comedy to make sure it all fits in just right. Hey.
Welcome to Hillbilly Horror Stories. Now here's your hosts, Jerry and Tracy and their dog Ninja.
And sometimes their cat Freddy, but never the ferrets.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 406 of Hillbilly Horror Stories.
I'm Tracy, and that's Jerry.
I was waiting to see if you just chimed in or not. Tracy, obviously we start every episode thanking all of our military and civil servants all over the world, no matter which country you represent. Thanks to all you men, women, and service animals for everything you do on a daily basis.
Yes, sir. We can't thank you guys enough, even though we do it every week. We're still thankful for you guys every single day. And we appreciate you guys for your sacrifices, being away from your family, but protecting the country. You guys are our angels. We love you guys, and just keep kicking ass out there.
Well, while we're on the subject of our civil servants and our military, let's just say that I've been talking to a member of our group that's struggling a little bit right now, mainly because this person has lost two really close friends that were both Marines due to suicide recently.
Oh, no way.
And people, that the number, if you are unaware, there are 22 people every day from our military that commit suicide. That's the average, 22 people every day.
That's so sad.
It is sad. And we just want people to realize, whether you're in the military, whether you're just an average person at home that's going through something, that's not the answer. It definitely is not the answer. It might seem like it, because I've been there, I know. But trust me when I tell you that if you can get past whatever hurdles you've got now, you'll look back on that time and say, man, what I would have lost. And that's a promise. You need to get help one way or the other, whether it's us, whether it's the crisis hotline, whether it's a hospital, whether it's a friend, family member. Please talk to somebody.
And you know, there's a lot of groups. I've been actually seeing this commercial a lot with the people, especially in the armed forces, that are struggling so bad, and they have, gotten a group together just to talk with each other.
Mm-hmm. Just like, AA or something, except they're just starting their own little group.
Right. And so, it seems to really be helping, and, and the people, they give their testimony and say, you know what, this group has helped me tremendously. And I'm so glad that we got this group together. And if that's what you need to do, you guys go ahead and do that, because you won't be helping yourself. But you'll be helping others as well that's going through the same thing. So just, that's something to think about in your hometown or whatever. And just call and see if there's any groups like that.
Or just start your own on Facebook. Just
Heck
go on Facebook
mm-hmm.
or Twitter or whatever, and just say, hey, is there anybody that would like to be part of a group where we can help each other out? And I'll guarantee, because there's so many people going through stuff, you'll find 5, 6, 7 people.
Oh, without a doubt.
But all you need is one.
Right. But, like Jerry said, we're always here. The group's there for you as well, day or night. And you can call the crisis hotline at 988, and you can text at 741-741. There's a lot of options out there for you guys. So just please think about it, and then, give somebody a call. We'll listen.
Well, Tracy, not realizing when I wrote these stories that we were going to be talking about the military and stuff, we actually have got military stories tonight.
Good.
Tracy, we obviously love to cover any type of story that has to do with military bases.
We do.
Now, some of these military bases are paranormally active, even if the base itself is no longer active.
Oh, no kidding. You mean like just like an empty base?
Exactly. Hold on, baby bird. I'll feed you. But that doesn't mean that there aren't some spirits obviously lingering around from the days when these buildings like that were actively used. So today we're going to take a virtual trip to Japan to cover not one, but two haunted airfields. So we're going to start with the Misawa Air Base. Now, Tracy, we know that military bases are dangerous places, period.
Yes.
They just are. The Misawa Air Base was no exception to this. So many of the stories, as you might expect, go back to World War II, especially June and July of 1945 at this particular base. So we're going to get into those stories in just a bit. First, we're going to talk a little bit of history. So the Japanese Imperial Navy began construction of the Misawa Air Base in 1938. Construction was complete in 1942. For most of the war, Misawa was completely ignored by American bombers. As the war shifted more towards Japan, though, at the end of World War II, it became likely that Misawa would be on the American radar, so to speak. So the government of Japan began constructing a series of defense bunkers that surrounded the flight line. And as suspected, July 14th and on August 8th, 1945, U.S. Navy aircraft attacked the base. At the time of the attacks, Security Hill was an aviation school that included several residential families. Now, according to legend, during the attacks, a number of wives and children took cover in one of the school's bunkers that were located at the site where Leftwich Park actually stands today.
Wow, how frightening for them.
The story goes that during the attack, one of the bunkers collapsed, killing at least 2 children.
Oh, man.
Now, since World War II, people have reported a number of strange occurrences at Leftwich Park, especially around the park's playground equipment. So as you would think, there are often sounds of children playing that they would hear.
All right.
But these sounds aren't coming when the park is opened.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The sound of these children are coming when there are no living children around. There were also some reports of ghost lights being seen. Now, at one point, Tracy, the park could be observed by the Misawa Security Operations Center. So they had cameras on it. This was obviously through closed-circuit TV back at the time. On one occasion, the observation post reported 2 small children playing in the park at nighttime. A 2-man patrol responded, and they kind of searched the park. They didn't find anything. After checking the bathroom, the 2 security officers who could be seen on camera reported that, you know what, we don't see any kids. There's no kids out here. But the observation post radioed back and said, what do you mean? They are standing right next to you.
Oh, no. So when they're doing that, is it recording?
Yes.
So if they played it back, they could probably see
Yes.
it? Okay. Well, that probably freaked them out a little bit.
I would think so. Unexplainable incidents have also occurred at the Mishiwa Enlisted Club. So, it's a club for the enlisted men to go, like a little bar type situation.
All right.
From World War II up until 1994, the dispensary and the hospital were both located on the site of the enlisted and the officers' clubs are today. After the bombing of the air base in August 1945, fire destroyed 90% of that base.
Oh, well, I mean, there couldn't have been anything left. Did they just tear it all the way down?
No.
Oh.
So casualties were taken to the dispensary and the hospital that's located on the side of the... Well, I said it was on the side of the enlisted and the officers club, and it is, but there's also a club there that's mutual for both people to be able to go to, enlisted and officers.
Oh.
So they have an officers, they have an enlisted, and they got one that everybody can go to.
Wonder why they do that.
I don't know. I would think to save space and money, but they got all three, so
Right.
go figure. The fatalities were stored in the morgue, which was down there where all this is now.
Oh.
In 1949, a mid-air collision resulted in the death of 2 pilots and the destruction of numerous aircraft on the ground. Both fatalities were brought to the Mishawah Hospital. Employees of the that club that was where we both can go to, they reported a number of ghost sightings there. An apparition that is commonly seen is a blonde-haired woman who sits by the doors of the Magnum restaurant.
Magnum.
She's probably expecting a guy to come out with a long...
Tongue?
It's a Magnum.
Well,
People have also...
maybe she just wanted to dance with them.
Maybe. People have also asked her if she needed help, but they always get the same response from her. I'm waiting for my husband.
Oh.
That's what she says. The sound of children playing can be heard in the back halls of that same club. Another spooky occurrence is that of a small child's handprint shown upon the glass of the door and the window that was just cleaned at closing time the night before. So nobody had been in there,
right?
According to rumors, the enlisted club is sitting right where the old morgue used to sit. Furniture at the bar, such as tables and chairs, have been seen to move on their own accord. Let's talk about Building 1742. That's near the Applegate Entry Control Point, and it's thought to be the site of a malicious entity.
Those are not fun.
No, they're not.
I mean, not in the least little bit. I wonder if like these entities drink some of that liquor and then they become fun entities. What do you say?
Doubtful. They're probably just mean drunks.
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
A few years ago, during a renovation of the 35th Civil Engineer Squadron's compound, say that fast 3 times, or once, the heavy equipment shop relocated to Building 1742. During the initial inspection, several Japanese nationals reported unusual feelings while in the building. During the relocation, 2 Japanese civilian employees were hospitalized and unexpectedly died. 2 other Japanese civilian employees drowned in the ocean during a beachside fishing trip.
Well, that's I mean, they had no idea why these people died before. They just died unexpectedly. Like,
right.
Well, that's kind of weird.
A third committed suicide.
Oh, come on now.
So there was 5 people who died
like
in pretty close proximity to each other. So according to Buddhist tradition, salt repels evil spirits.
Oh, I am safe. Thank you, Lord.
So Tracy, we are well aware of that custom because
yep,
when we would come to Florida before we moved down here and stayed, we stayed at the house of my ex-wife's father and mother-in-law, and she is Okinawan.
Mm-hmm.
Which our next story is actually from Okinawa.
Oh, no way.
Yes, but she's Okinawan, and there was salt. But it wasn't like in special trays or containers or anything like that. It was just like a thing of Morton salt sitting by all of the doors.
I mean, when I first went there, I was like, what in the world? They really like salt, and they want to have salt everywhere where they might be eating something. Because they're like, the salt was everywhere.
But that's what it was. It was,
Yeah, we didn't have a clue about that.
And obviously that's something that a lot of, I'm not going to say religions, but I'm going to say that a lot of people feel that way because how many times have you seen about demons and stuff and Christians are putting salt on the windowsills or they're putting salt on, and of course you're going to bring up the Winchesters.
I wasn't going to say a word.
Of course you are. Of course, they were using rock salt to shoot demons and stuff in that TV show. So a lot of people feel that that's a way against demons, to repel demons.
Well, they won't touch me then, because I'm like saltified.
You are that. So today, Japanese visitors to that building will sometimes leave 2 small piles of salt on each side of the building entrance when they go in.
Okay. Each and every time?
Each and every time. Misawa Air Base also has some spirits that aren't fixed to any particular building. Several base residents have reported a shadow man who appears most frequently to children and pets, almost always in a residential facility. In addition to the shadow man, there have also been reports of a ghost warrior at various locations throughout the base. Late in 2013, one family reported that their daughter had seen a ghost in a military uniform up on Security Hill. When the family returned to their home, the mom decided that she was going to search the internet for Japanese military uniforms. So the daughter pointed to one of the pictures. The mom clicked on the image to get a full picture of the Japanese Imperial Navy. And that was from World War II. And that's the one the little girl said that it was.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, Tracy. We mentioned Okinawa a little bit ago. And I said that's where this second story was. And that's what we're going to do. But first, we're going to take a quick sponsor break. All right, Tracy. So we are in Okinawa. And this is where the Kadena Air Force Base is. Tracy, this is going to be our longer story of the two that we do tonight.
Way fun.
Let's go back to March 1945. A local construction company, they completed a small airfield near the village of Kadena. That would become one of the very first objectives by the 10th Army at the time of the American invasion. But the airfield was attacked almost immediately, and the American troops would eventually take it over 82 days later.
Well, hadn't even got settled yet.
It was a long, bloody fight. What they got when it was all said and done was an empty and badly damaged coral-surfaced runway. The U.S. Army engineers got straight to work filling in craters and making other repairs. By nightfall that day, the airfield was usable for emergency landings only. That's kind of hard to believe that they take over a runway that's got all kinds of stuff wrong, and by the end of the day, it's fixed and usable.
I know, especially the one they just blew up.
8 days later, with the addition of 8 inches on the airfield that's already existed, it was fully functional and able to use for bigger planes.
That is amazing.
Now get this. By August of 1945, an additional runway was built.
I just don't get how they could do that so fast.
On top of that, the other runway that they just had fixed up had been lengthened to accommodate bombers, which were the bigger planes. Kadena Air Force Base was first used as a fighter and medium bomber base. But Tracy, when Japan officially surrendered on September 7, 1945, officially ending World War II, General Joseph W. Stilwell accepted that surrender at Kadena Air Force Base with General Doolittle in attendance.
Well, as he should. And amen for that, the end of it.
Believe it or not, that base is still used today.
Is it really?
Yes. And there might be a few ghosts hanging around. Probably in the hangars.
Well, you know what? That'd be a disappointment if there wasn't.
Right. Along with what happened during the war, there's been a deadly history ever since the Americans took over the base, primarily at Building 2283. That building is actually a single-unit family home that sits in a residential neighborhood. This housing was reserved for mid-grade officers and civilians that had, similar ranks. There was a daycare that sat right beside this building, and the properties were just separated by a wooden fence.
Oh.
Base officials stopped assigning families to this home years ago. It was then used for storage by the USO for years. So why did they quit putting people in the house and turn it into storage? Well, the years after the war ended, there were a number of reports submitted to the military police in relation to that particular building. That building, obviously, 2283. Well, families didn't want to live there once word started spreading of a possible haunting. Many families heard a woman softly singing throughout the house. Then they would go to the room to see where the singing was coming from, and there would be nobody in there. Faucets would continuously turn on and off when nobody was in the room, but sometimes not even home. They'd come home to just running faucets. On another occasion, a Japanese woman was seen washing her hair in the bathtub, but when the tenant tried to talk to her, she completely disappeared.
Well, you can't be bothering no woman when they're washing her hair.
I already know.
There's no reason to be talking to anybody.
So, Tracy, these things are pretty messed up, but in the end, this was not what drove families away. There were two tragedies that happened within the walls of this building, 2283. In the 1970s, an officer and his family were assigned to that house. That was their living quarters. And for whatever the reason, the officer's mental health quickly deteriorated. He would go on to kill his wife and children before taking his own life.
Oh, my gosh.
Right after this, the incidents, mainly the paranormal activity, ramped up in the house. There's another story of an officer who stabbed his stepdaughter to death in that house.
Dude, they need to tear that thing down.
After having several murders in the home and all the paranormal activities being reported, the base decided that it was just better off to just use as a storage building. So.
There they did.
Yeah.
Did it torment the storage?
Well, funny you should ask, because that did not stop the paranormal events. Neighbors reported the phone ringing off the hook day and night inside the house. When inspected, the phone had already been removed and the services had been cut off. The military police would often ride by the house and they would see, like, I'm going to say an unnatural glow coming from behind the curtains. And it almost looked like there was a fire inside.
So did they check it out?
Yes, they would always go in and check it out, but they would never find the source of the strange light. On one occasion, an MP was told to go check out the possibility of a vandal in the house.
And he said, no.
Well, there had been reports of a banging noise coming from inside. So he goes in, of course, it's dark. He pulls his flashlight out and he starts shining it around the living room. Tracy, that's when he notices someone standing right next to him. Someone who apparently would have had to enter through a brick wall because there was no way he could have got past him otherwise. He quickly spins around and his light lands on what appears to be a Japanese soldier. But not just your average Japanese soldier. This one was in ornate battle armor. It was a samurai.
Oh, wow. That's really awesome.
It was complete with the sword at its waist. The samurai kind of reached for the sword, and the MP screamed and ran out of the house.
I don't blame him.
Of course, he was the butt of the jokes when he got back to work.
Why would anybody think that was...
Well, because...
They think he made it up?
Well, they're going to believe... And not everybody believes in ghosts.
Well, that's true.
So... But that was until two other officers encountered the same warrior traveling all around the base.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tracy, of that building, of course, being storage, people would have to go in there to retrieve things that were obviously stored there. These airmen would report hearing children laughing and running through the rooms. Even the houses around 2283 got a little bit of the activity so they could share in the fun. Neighbors would claim to hear similar sounds through the air vents from their house. In 1999, April Martling, who was the director of Cadena's Information and Tickets and Travel Office, that sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
She had a frightening encounter there. She was going to the annual Spooky Sights tour. It was late at night. About 50 people were gathered in the backyard. She was going to tell them the history of the house, but that's when the phone inside the house started ringing. And as we've discussed, there were no phones or service in the home.
Okay, but how cool was that? That actually happened while those people were there.
That's really cool.
Because that really, probably proved to them that crap was going on.
And this was before cell phones took off.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't like it was a cell phone making the noise. In the mid-90s, another group visiting the house had a similar experience. At least according to Jerry Johnson. He was the director for Kadena's United Services Organization. Apparently, as the tour guide started speaking, a curtain parted in front of them. Now, that was enough to end the tour for that entire evening.
Did they really? They stopped the tour for
Yeah,
real?
because it freaked people out.
Well, at least they got their money's worth.
Johnson said that he didn't necessarily believe all the stories from the USO, but he was curious what all the fuss was about. So he and some fellow USO employees went inside the building. Although it was summer, he said it was nearly 100 degrees outside. The house, though, was ice cold, as if the air conditioning had been left on high.
I would enjoy that.
Yeah, but there was no air conditioning in the house.
But still, it's still cold.
In the past, residents would complain that one particular room was always much colder than the other rooms. This happened so much that the base officials decided to knock down a wall and make that room part of the bigger room. So beside the chill that Johnson and his co-workers felt in the unair-conditioned house, he claims that they saw bloodstains on the floor and on the curtains. He said it was an extremely eerie experience going into that house, and he could almost feel a presence inside there.
So the bloodstains and all that wasn't on the curtains and the floor when they did the tour?
No, but the tour was on the outside of the house. It wasn't on the inside.
Oh,
but they saw the window, the curtain spread from inside the house, and that freaked everybody out.
Okay, I thought they were inside when it did it.
Jane Hitchcock, who lived on the base from 1992 to 1995, wrote a book about the ghost on the base, as well as some other Okinawan ghosts. She said the most frequently heard story was that of the stepfather stabbing his daughter. That was the event that made the base stop using the house as a residential quarters and turned it into a storage facility. She said even back then, the base offices were very vague about the details of the alleged murders of the home. Jane said she had a seance in the house, Halloween 1994. And during that seance, she says that she spoke to a spirit of a little girl who played with the spirit of a little boy. The girl said she was afraid of a man in the house. Jane said she noted that a candle flame would jump 4 to 5 inches as she asked questions to the little girl that required a yes answer. She also said that she picked up some whispers on her recorder. Although she was asked to do more seances, she refused. She was so spooked and unnerved by the experiences that she never returned to the house again.
Must have been pretty powerful.
Well, so Tracy, where are these spirits coming from?
Well, I mean, it sounds like that one was the little girl that was killed by her stepdaddy.
It's possible. I don't know how old that girl was, according to the story, because like I said, there's so much of this is vague. You don't know what's true and what's not true. Well, ancestor worship is deeply embedded in Okinawan religion life. Many island locals are very superstitious, and they believe that many sites on the island were built on or near ancient burial grounds or sacred sites, and these are the prime sites for hauntings. Local officials believe that there's a tomb right across the street from the Kadena haunted house that we just spoke about. They say the tomb is of an Okinawan samurai warrior, and that home might have been built on part of that property.
Well, that would make sense.
Well, I don't know how they say part of the property. Even if it is part of it, it's not buried right over top. I mean, it's not like they go by fence lines.
You never know.
I'm a spirit, but property line starts here at John Smith's park.
Okay, you know how neighbors act when you're on their property line?
Right.
Well, he might have felt the same way.
Yeah, but they probably don't see the property lines like humans do. Not on site, Tracy, but close, is a cave near Kadena's Banyan Tree Golf Course. The Japanese had a field hospital there during World War II. After the Americans took the airfield, 17 volunteer nurses committed suicide in that cave.
Oh my gosh.
Most Okinawans refused to go anywhere near the entrance of that cave. So what has happened to building 2283? Well, it was torn down in 2009. Mainly because of the daycare next door. See, there was one particular event that started the talk of tearing down the building. It was a hot summer day. The children were outside. They were enjoying their last few minutes of recess. One of the teachers, by the name of Patsy, she was wandering around the playground, keeping an eye on all the children, make sure nobody was missing. They frown upon that.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
She was in the process of putting some sunscreen on one of the children when she noticed another child throw something over the fence. Whatever he was throwing was going into the yard of 2083. She walks over to the child. Patsy made her way over to the boy as he picked up something from the ground and he threw it again over the fence. She recognized the little boy as Angelo. Now, his father was a senior NCO with the 19th Tactical Electronic Warfare Squad. His family had just recently moved to the base. When she looked at the ground by his feet, she noticed that there were some Hot Wheels type cars that were laying right around on the ground. That's what he had been thrown over the fence. He always brought these cars with him to the daycare. He chucked 2 more of these over the fence before she was able to get his attention. Patsy asked the little boy, "Won't you be sad at the end of the day when you realize that you're not going to be able to get these cars back from that yard?" And Angelo said, "No, I'm going to give it to these children who live there. They don't have any toys of their own to play with." Well, Patsy politely told him that there were no kids living next door. In fact, nobody lived there and hadn't for quite some time. Angelo just kind of smiled and said that there was a little boy and a little girl next door that asked if they could borrow his toys. About that time, the bell rang to signal them to go back from recess. So she sent Angelo back to the main building, and then Patsy told another teacher, "You know what, I'm going to be a few minutes late. I got to go check something out." So she stares at the wooden fence for a few seconds. She decides, "I'm going to go next door and I'm going to get these cars." Now, of course, there was grass and weeds and stuff all grown up in the brush, so she had to kind of make her way through that. As she got there, she started saying, "Well, this is about where the cars would have landed from what I'm seeing." And she gets to kind of digging around in the brush and grass and trying to find these cars, and she's not having any luck at all. After a few minutes, she heard a young girl giggling right behind her. She suddenly looks back to find that she was all alone. There's no reason she could be hearing laughing. But then she hears 2 children whisper just a few feet from her. Over on the concrete, there was like a little pathway that led up to the front door.
Uh-huh.
There was Angelo's cars.
Oh.
They were arranged in a perfect circle, all the front ends pointing towards each other. Patsy realized that there was no possible way for Angelo to have thrown those cars and them just happen to land perfectly like that.
Seriously.
So someone or something had to put them in that. Patsy said she got sick to her stomach and she rushed back to the school.
Well, isn't he a sweet kid?
But that was not going to be the end of stories from the daycare. He wasn't the only student talking about the children next door. A number of other students had told their teacher that they were friends with the children next door. So much so that the parents quit sending the children to the daycare. Eventually the daycare staff, they requested that the building be torn down. It was having a negative effect on the mental health of the children in the daycare. But it wasn't going to be that easy. The base commander gave the okay for the building to be torn down, and then they were going to use that area to extend the school's playground. What could possibly go wrong there?
I feel like that defeats the purpose.
Right. But as you could probably guess, this took a lot longer than initially planned, because the contractors in charge of this they started having severe nausea and headaches
Oh, come on.
to the extent that they could not continue with the work. And in 2009, the cursed building was finally demolished.
Well, I am surprised that it took that long to demolish that thing. After all those years, after all the things that's happened there, it's really surprising.
But they were still using it as storage, so it
Well,
served a purpose.
yeah, but the purpose didn't outdo the badness that it was causing.
I get it. So, Tracy, let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back to talk about a few housekeeping issues. All right, Tracy, let's talk about the cruise. We're a month away from when you have to have your cruise paid off.
That's very true. I need to. I said this last time about getting my bod ready for the cruise, and I didn't do it. So, probably ain't going to happen again, but
Well,
that's all right.
it is what it is.
It is, for real.
I love you the way you are.
What's that mean?
It means it doesn't matter. And I just need to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Is what that means.
There you go.
All right, so we got the... I know it seems like it's far away, but it's really not.
No.
Because the cruise is in September. But then we also have our 8th anniversary show with History Goes Bump.
Looking forward to that.
August 17th in St. Augustine, one of my favorite places in the entire world. I've not been anywhere outside the United States except for Mexico, so I guess really I can't even say that. But I love the place. And I can't wait to see you all there.
Me neither.
Just go to hillbillyhorrorstories.com where you can buy some shirts to wear on the cruise because we can't bring shirts to sell this time.
That's true. We can't.
Got in trouble last time
We did.
because somebody by the name of Vacation Experts didn't tell us we couldn't do it. Anyway, so we got that.
And that's for the cruise he's talking
That's
about.
for the cruise. Yeah, on August 17th, if you come to St. Augustine, there are also tickets available on the website for that. Just click on that, buy your tickets. We're sold about half of them already, and it's still 3 months away.
Yep.
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. And you're right on the beach. You can spend the night there in their condos there. They make you pay for it. You can't just, go pitch a tent.
Yeah, they frown on that.
Yeah, they frown on that. But the number and stuff is on the event page. So go over there and get you a room while they still got some rooms available. They only had 10 blocked out for us. So I don't know where we're at on that, but go get that done and we'll be good. So Tracy, what do you got going on over there?
All right. I have some reviews. And we appreciate all you all reaching out and leaving reviews. We have SK Morse 007. We have Mojo Lobster. We love you, honey. You always never let us down. And then we had
Did
this.
you say you always never let us down?
Oh, did I?
I'm pretty sure you did.
Oh, well, you know what I mean.
Almost never.
Okay, yeah. Well, anyway. And then we had one that I don't really know what to say. It's a 2-star. And it says, too many ads. I heard about your all's fundraiser. Cringy opening song. Over embellished accents. Literally, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I don't know how I could over embellish.
This is just the way we talk.
Whatever. Clearly reading from a script.
Yes, I write a script all the time.
Not scary at all. You all do seem to have a great chemistry, which is cool. So what the hell?
I don't know.
I don't even know what to make of that backhanded compliment. So anyway, to Slow, let's see, what is it? Sloan and the Thug. I don't know what to tell you. This is my voice. I can't help it. I know it's twangy as hell, but I cannot help it. So this is my accent, and I wouldn't even take the time to try to embellish it because why would I do that? So anyway, you can continue to listen, or you can go on about your business.
I don't understand the scripted part either because...
I mean, yeah, we don't have a story in our head.
Some of the stuff we do is more scripted the other, like Hillbilly Dead Time Stories. I don't know what episodes he listened to, but like Hillbilly Dead Time Story or any of the listener stories or stuff that we read, yeah, those are going to be a script. That they're scripted shows.
I mean, seriously, we don't just like close our eyes and go up into our brain and then talk about all this stuff. we're not that good. So, whatever.
Right.
So, anyway. And I mean, like I said, we like to get the other, what was I saying? Reviews. But I'm over it.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, we love you guys. And
we do love you guys.
We'll see you next week.
And I'm going to try really hard next week to embellish my twang even more. So get ready, folks. Love y'all. Have a blessed week.